How to start your test prep. Hi there, my name is Maria Gurieva. I'm the founder of Studyamerica, and we help international students from all over the world get into top US universities. In this video, let's talk about exams and how to start preparing for them. Let's go! So the first step in starting the preparation for the exams in order to enter US university is to actually find out which exams you need to pass. And this might be somewhat a decision to make. Well, first of all, the exams are now optional. I mean, the TOEFL test for international students is normally not optional, but a lot of exams do go optional. And this is a tough choice for people who want to work less and perhaps skip the test prep overall. Well, in order to enter the top US universities and actually get financial aid, it's very important to pass exams because the admissions committee to understand if you're going to be capable with the studies at the university. And it gives them the opportunity to compare you to other candidates and to understand why you're better academically. I definitely suggest you prepare for the exams and don't lure yourself into the test optional policy that happens after the pandemic, and actually do prepare for the exam because it's gonna work for your advantage. And in order to enter a US university, you would need to pass an English proficiency test. And there are two options, the TOEFL test and the IELTS test. The TOEFL test is an American standardized test for English as a foreign language, and the IELTS is more of a British test to do the very same thing. So a lot of people actually consider which one to pass, even though they're applying to a US university. They still might think, oh, but I can still pass the IELTS test, maybe I should consider that exam. Because yes, a lot of universities actually let you to submit either TOEFL or the IELTS test in order to fulfill the requirement of the English as a second language. So in order to choose which test to prepare for, well, first of all, if you already prepared for, let's say, IELTS and you know how to do it, you don't have to go and start preparing for the TOEFL test, because most universities do consider the IELTS results as well. But there's some universities in the United States that do not support the IELTS test. They only require the TOEFL test. And if those schools are in your list, then perhaps it's better for you to go and prepare for the TOEFL test. If you didn't yet decide and you didn't prepare for any of those tests, I suggest you consider the TOEFL test if your goal is applying to American universities, because the TOEFL test is universally recognized by all US universities, and you don't have to worry if you apply to any US school. You don't have to worry if they allow the TOEFL test or not, because with the IELTS you need to worry a little bit because some universities do not accept the IELTS scores. And if you want to prepare for the TOEFL test, definitely check my bestseller course on how to prepare for the TOEFL test. The link is also in the description, and in this course I talk about all the tactics and all the tricks to pass the TOEFL test easily on a very high score, on 100 and above 100. And this course was taken by more than 25,000 students from all over the world, and it is a bestseller course, so please pay attention to this course, and if you need to pass the TOEFL test, this is definitely a course that will help you do that. Another story is with the other exam that you need to submit in addition to your English proficiency test. And this depends on which degree you're applying for. If you're applying for the bachelor's degree, then you would need to provide the TOEFL or the IELTS test and also provide the SAT or the ACT test. You know, in the United States and in the test industry, there are always competitors. So there's SAT, which is bigger and more popular, but there is a competitor, which is the ACT test. And they're in many ways similar, but the SAT test is more popular. And also the SAT test is somewhat easier because you don't have to pass the science section. In the ACT test, they have basically everything that the SAT test has, but they also have this science section. So I suggest that you choose the SAT test because you have to do less work preparing for it. But not little work. Of course, you need to actually prepare a lot, and this is a hard test. If you're applying for a master's program, you would need to do TOEFL or IELTS plus GRE or GMAT. GRE and GMAT are both considered for the master's programs, and they are both considered for the MBA programs. So no matter if you're applying for a master's or for an MBA, you can choose between GMAT and GRE test. And here, I would say that a lot of people find the GRE test easier. The GRE test is somewhat similar to the SAT test. They also have the English part and the math part. The math is also pretty easy. The English is also pretty hard. And GMAT actually uses, and they have an essay. The GMAT is somewhat similar, but they have a little bit harder math and a little bit easier English. So in order to choose between these two exams, you need to do practice tests and understand which one you find easier. But a lot of people, they do find the GRE test easier, but that's not objective, so you should decide for yourself. If you're applying for a master program, they generally prefer the GRE test, but they don't mind the GMAT. And if you're applying for the MBA program, that's different. They generally prefer the GMAT test, but they don't mind the GRE test. If you're applying for a PhD program, then you need to pass the GRE test. They don't like the GMAT test. And of course, you always need also to provide the TOEFL or the IELTS test results. And if your goal is to apply to a US university, then definitely come to my free masterclass where I explain how to apply to the best universities in the United States, how to get financial aid. I describe the step-by-step process of what you need to do, and also I will tell you how to guarantee yourself admissions to the best US universities. After you understood which exams to take, you chose the right exam, and you need to start preparing, definitely think about if you want to prepare by yourself, if you want to use online resources such as online courses, or if you need a teacher. And if you want to study for the tests yourself, then I suggest that you pay attention to textbooks, and I recommend Barron's and Kaplan. These two textbook creators, textbook publishing houses, are extremely good, and their textbooks is very nice. And I would say that the Barron's, I feel like it's much better for self-studying, because it just gives you all the tricks, all the tactics that you need, and it kind of makes the exams easier. But the problem with the Barron's textbooks is that they are generally easy. So you study a tactic, then you practice, and the practice tasks that they give you, well, the tactic works in there and it's pretty easy. But when you come to the actual test, then you find out that the tasks in the actual test are a little bit harder than it was in the Barron's. But Barron's is great in terms of learning the tactics and tricks. But I would suggest you also use the Kaplan textbooks, because I feel like they have much harder questions, and they might be not as good in explaining you the tricks and tactics, but they're extremely good in how hard their questions are. So if you learn how to do the Kaplan tasks, then on the actual exams you might find it pretty easy, because the actual exam is easier than the Kaplan tasks. So definitely choose the textbooks for yourself, and the textbooks will help you a lot in your preparation. If you like this video, please push the like button and subscribe to my channel. There are a lot of very useful videos about how to prepare to exams and how to apply to US universities. And I hope you like this video, and I will see you in other videos. Thank you for watching, and I see you soon.